Johnny, this is Troutman. Where the hell are you? John, come in.
Murdoch.
He's here.
Rambo, this is Murdoch. We're glad you're alive. Where are you? Give us your position and we'll come to pick you up.
Murdoch. I'm coming to get you.
Remember, Sally, when I promised to kill you last? I lied.
Get off my plane.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
John, I'm not gonna shoot you between the eyes. This will shoot you between the balls.
The disease. And I'm the cure.
I'm gonna take you to the bank, Senator Trent.
There can be only one.
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
Yippee-ki-yay.
I'm going to kill them all, sir.
Woo! Welcome to another episode of Gimme Back My Action Movies, the podcast. Month of Action! Oh, I'm really going to miss that button, Pete. I'm really going to miss it.
I do. It's the dumbest, most wonderful thing you've done in a long time.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. And yes, Pete is with me for our final episode of the month of action. But I brought us a special guest, Pete.
No, did you?
I did.
Oh, it's this guy right here. I see him on the screen.
Yeah, he's on the screen. I didn't pull the switcheroo like I did with
okay.
Steve last time. I brought one of my co-hosts from the other show on the podcast, the B Action podcast. I brought the voice, Micky. Say hello, Micky.
Hello, it's good to see you guys.
See, Micky should have come in with. How's it going?
You're gonna miss that sound. I'm gonna miss Dustin with the scar right after.
Every time I play it, Dustin then has to repeat it. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna clip that. I don't have to clip Dustin. He'll just do it anyway. Yeah. It's like he has to yell every time we play our intro song. So yeah. This is bittersweet, gentlemen. This is the final episode of the month of action.
This is the same emotion I go through at the end of February when
is this what
I
you
no
feel
longer
like
am able to subject you to some really interesting movies, to say the least.
I like the word you used.
But what a way to wrap it up, though, right?
Oh,
Great
yeah.
movie to wrap it up with.
This is kind of like I had a theme going, a kind of a rhythm, banger, bring it down a little bit, another big banger, bring it down a little bit, and then end on this. This is also, if you guys, I'm sorry if you haven't figured it out. We're doing Rambo First Blood Part 2. Finally, in our over 3 years of podcasting, I haven't touched a Rambo movie yet.
Oh, how did you make it?
I never felt it was right because we blew through some good ones early on.
You don't want to pop too soon.
And
just you leave them unsatisfied that way.
I wanted to get better, and this is still the other end of the bittersweet. Is Nate's not here for this, and this was kind of one both of us were looking forward to.
Is this the bitter or the sweet part of Nate not being here?
Bit of both.
Okay,
bit of both.
I thought so. Love you,
but
Nate.
I still got two other Rambo movies. Well, technically 4 if we want to get into the newer stuff, but still 2 other classic ones with Nate when he comes back. And I was torn, 2 or 3. God, 3's a lot of fun, but 2 kind of sets the bar for actiondom. And I pulled the trigger, and I knew Pete was going to hate me. Consider this my payback for February, Pete.
It just gives me more incentive to ramp it up this year, so to speak.
Fuel them tanks. All right. Well, before we jump into everything, because, man, I cannot wait to get into it, we are going to play the Rambo First Blood Part 2 trailer, And if you listen to the B Action Show, you also know that Mickey has a fondness for certain voice actors. I do believe one shows up in Rambo 2. So here we go, boys. Trailer time.
Joined Army 6 June 69. Accepted Special Forces. Helicopter and language qualified. Expert in light weapons and guerrilla warfare. Sylvester Stallone is back as Rambo.
Rambo's the best combat vet I've ever seen.
His mission, to locate American POWs in Vietnam.
Think you'll find someone? POWs? Doubtful.
His orders, not to engage the enemy.
He's got 36 hours to complete the mission and reach the extraction point. We're going down.
You're not going anywhere.
I'm telling you to abort. Double-crossed and left behind enemy lines.
You're the one who's making the mistake.
Yeah, what mistake?
Rambo.
And now, he's getting out any way he can. Rambo, what most people call hell, he calls home. No man, no law, no war can stop him. Sylvester Stallone is back as Rambo. First Blood, Part 2.
Oh, boys. If there's a song that rivals Delta Forces, it's Rambo's fucking theme song, boys.
Good.
Oh, God, I love it.
Not that stupid end credit
Hey,
song.
Hey.
Oh, my God.
We'll talk about that.
What the?
Hey,
Come on. Be nice.
that was brotherly love right there.
That was. You know that was his brother singing, right, Pete?
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm pretty good with voices,
Yeah.
not doing them, but recognizing them, and I'm like, that really sounds like Stallone singing. And I didn't know his brother sang the song, but now that makes perfect
Stallone
sense.
sung it. Yeah. We got to get his brother in the movie somehow, you know. If nothing else, Stallone has always tried to involve Frank in something. Not quite what Sam Raimi has to do with Ted Raimi all the time, you know, and torture him on screen.
Ted's got some talent.
True.
Frank's got some talent.
coming out swinging. Here we go.
That's it. No, it's fine. It's fine. Speaking of which, we'll let you come out swinging because I know, Pete, this is maybe a first time watch for you, maybe second.
Okay.
So, what's your history with?
Are you asking? Okay.
I was predicting and asking at the same time.
I figured. I caught on that this is a first full-time watch because there's no way as a kid in the 80s you with access to cable, which I didn't always have, there's no way you could have missed all or part of this movie one way or the other. I don't think it was ever on broadcast television. It's fairly bloodless, so it probably could be. But
I never looked that up. I never think about looking up like if ABC or somebody did like a Saturday night movie because they would play some.
Well, I feel like I've seen it before on those like
yeah.
My grandfather would watch those like Sunday afternoon shows. They would a local company would sponsor it, and there'd be Chuck Norris movies or one of these types of movies on.
Okay.
But yeah, I think what you're talking like Pete like is like big broadcast.
Oh yeah, okay.
Like,
NBC, CBS, ABC. Did they have it on their Saturday night movie or something like that?
I don't know if there's like a way to look that up because that would be kind of cool to know.
I I don't remember it. Please let us know if you did have seen it on
maybe you got it on
regular
tape
TV and at one time. And watching the movie, it's not terribly bloody, so it's horrifically violent. Don't get me wrong, but
yes,
but it's you could probably maybe get away with it as a late whatever. It doesn't matter. This is a first full time sit down on my butt and watch this movie back to front. That's my history with Rambo 2.
Perfect. I love it. Mickey, brother, I brought you in over here, and I knew you liked some action
and someone to gang up on me. I see what you do.
I did need backup.
I see it.
I did need backup. But I also know Mickey has a bit of affinity for some action movies. So I was like,
clearly you're on the other cool show. Yeah.
I'm introducing him to some shit too. Don't get me wrong. Mickey comes into some and he's like, well, I had no idea about this.
The last episode I heard you guys do, Mickey was the one that dug up that
Billy Blanks.
Billy Blanks, yeah. Well, you Charlie's like, I ain't never heard of this movie.
See, that's the beauty of it. But Mickey, what's your history with Rambo First Blood Part 2?
I mean, so the first Rambo movie I ever watched was Rambo 3 as a kid. And they highly merchandised that movie and all that stuff. So I was into it. I had the toys, had everything. So we're going to go back and we're going to watch Rambo 2. Just as, I loved it, right? Just a kid watching probably with my granddad or my dad, one or the other, because they watched those two. Like I said, my grandfather would watch the Sunday afternoon flicks on TV that would have an action movie or something. I actually saw this one before I saw, First Blood. I didn't see First Blood till I was much older. So my growing up, my memories were of Rambo 3 and Rambo 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've loved it ever since I was a kid. I would run around the yard pretending to be Rambo, blowing shit up with a bow and arrow. And
between that and the Duke boys when we were growing up, you blew shit up with a bow and arrow.
Yeah. So there's a lot of fond memories of just being a young kid with a wild imagination, and Rambo always comes to mind when you start talking about action movies. So
100%. I mean, we grew up with G.I. Joes. We grew up with pretend war outside, and you hang out with your buddies. I'm going to be Rambo. I want to be Rambo. It's just how it goes. With me, obviously, I have a lot of history with the Rambo franchise. I think I've spoken on it a little bit on the show before, but this is a core memory for me. Just like you guys, I watched Rambo 2 and 3 before I saw First Blood. I'm kind of glad Dad did it that way.
Yeah.
Because Rambo 1 is kind of heavy, and as a kid, you're going to get bored not understanding really what's going on till the end 20 minutes, and then you're like, okay, I'm paying attention. But the rest of the movie, you're just like, why are they so mad at this guy? But no, Dad started me out with Rambo 2 and 3, and it's a vivid memory. Mom would go do Quilt Guild every other week or once a month. I can't remember the spacing. And
where they go shake people down for balls of yarn.
Maybe I'm not exactly sure the inner workings of the Quilt Guild ladies.
Yeah, you don't. What happens in the Quilt Guild
tenacious,
stays
though,
in the
I will
Quilt
tell
Guild.
you. A lot of times it was just going to one of their houses and doing it. I had to go once in a while. Okay, so but when Sarah was finally old enough, Mom would take her.
Sure.
So it was dude night, and Friday nights, Dad would come home from work, brown VHS cases in hand.
Oh yeah,
cast iron pans with pizzas, homemade pizzas with every meat in the house.
Nice
on a pizza, the greasiest things it would give most people a heart attack, but I am hardy. If I die, I die. I remember Dad came home with Rambo 2 and Rambo 3. And I knew a little bit about Rambo because of the cartoon, and he's a pop culture icon.
God, that was a cartoon, wasn't it?
It was yeah. And I had an action figure from the cartoon, and I knew about Rambo, but I'd never seen Rambo. And I still remember that night sitting there eating pizzas, watching quite possibly the greatest movies I had ever witnessed at that time. And I think I watched them twice before Dad had to take them back to the video store. We eventually bought the Rambo trilogy, and I had them, and I could watch them whenever. personally, my favorite one to just sit down and rewatch all the time is Rambo 3. Yeah. It's the most fun. It opens up with a stick fight, giant helicopter fight with a tank. There's nothing you can go wrong with part 3. But part 2 just kind of was this gritty, badass figure. And I was so used to movies like, and we're just going to jump right into everything.
Sure, do it.
I was so used to, as a kid, watching things like the A-Team or Delta Force, where there was a group of people and you had certain guys that were in charge of certain things, and that's how missions got done. Rambo was kind of like my first introduction to a one-man army. And it was a new concept to me. Just like, because I don't count things like Beastmaster or anything like that. That's one guy on a journey, on a mission, like even Conan. But to actually go and fight small armies was just like, holy shit. Like this guy is a Greek god. I mean, he's cut out of granite. He barely talks, but when he does, it's words that matter. Yes, sometimes that words are fuck you, but in that moment, that was the best fucking line to say to this guy in this movie. But man, this film just has meant a lot to me, and it means a lot to the action world. And this kind of like set the bar. Even, like Commando came later and, Predator came later. The only thing that was going on roughly around this time was between First Blood, Missing in Actions, and, I think Delta Force is even after this one. I think that's like 86.
Oh, really? Okay.
Now, I didn't get to watch these like in years. So when I say I saw something before something else, but it came out after, it's called when my dad finally watch this one now. So I saw them all out of, chronological order of release.
One of the interesting things about part 2 here is that you don't need to see the first one. Really, they explain it well enough that if you missed the first one, okay, I got the gist of it. Like, something went wrong and he got put in jail for a crime he didn't commit. The A-Team, right?
Right.
So it really, it stands alone as its own movie. And then from what I remember about 3, that's just Looney Tunes. I don't mean that disparagingly.
I know you don't mean that disparagingly. And I think
at all.
I think that's a kind of a not what I would have said, but I think you're correct. It goes way over the top.
Yeah. It's as over the top as it possibly could be.
It opens up
in
with
all
a
the most
stick
wonderful
fight
ways.
in Thailand.
Yeah, right.
I mean, seriously, a fucking fantastic scene in a movie, mind you. Good enough that Hot Shots Part 2 parodied it and almost did better, I think, a little bit. But no, I think you didn't really, and that was my thing. I had no concept of what the first one was. So they just got this veteran military guy out of prison. And all I need is Troutman saying, hey, I did everything I could to keep you out of this hellhole. But they didn't need to like beat anyone over the head. I'm really surprised this is called First Blood Part 2. I mean, I know it was something Stallone wanted because it was going to be just First Blood Part 2. But he's like, well, I want to name this franchise Rambo. Let's do it Rambo First Blood. Then Rambo 3 can just be Rambo 3. It's this weird way he kind of chopped up the titles.
He created a franchise.
Right. Because
by calling it Rambo. And
by
it's such a recognizable name anymore that it's solidly in the zeitgeist, even though we haven't had a Rambo movie in 10, 15 years.
It's been a while.
No, a little sooner than that. We had
was it
Last Blood was
that's the one I was thinking of.
Was that before COVID, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it really?
2018. Huh. Okay. I'm not looking it up. That's somewhere around there. That one is a decent movie, but it's not a Rambo movie. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's really not. Nate loves to say the end of it is pretty much a Friday the 13th movie with Stallone. And he's actually, watch it. He's not wrong. It goes that level. I think you might actually enjoy that one.
Maybe I'll go see that one.
Rambo, the fourth one, you're gonna fucking hate.
Fair.
It's killing for the sake of killing.
Yeah.
But heads do explode.
That's not for nothing.
No, it's not. It's kind of enjoyable when we're all cheering in the theater and people are walking out of the theater. It was an experience. I actually watched that one with Nate. So yeah, Rambo's been kind of an important thing, for a lot of us. But you're right. I mean, Rambo is almost its own word. Like when you hear someone going Rambo, or I'll say it when I'm playing video games. I'll be like, I'm going Rambo. That just means I'm going off by myself and I'm going to blow as much shit up as I can, even if it's a stealth mission. I'm going Rambo.
A character has made it when you say Rambo and this picture forms in your head, whether it's correct or not. You can say Godzilla the same way. There's a picture that forms in your head immediately. And it's a really interesting phenomenon when you can create a character like this and it's just known worldwide by the name. It's really cool.
I mean, it's why Stallone and I know he's got Rocky, but we're talking about the action movies. But I still think Rambo is probably more widely used as a phrase than going Rocky on somebody.
Oh yeah.
But the other, so we had Stallone being Rambo, and then we end up not long after Schwarzenegger being the Terminator.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's another thing. Like you say Terminator, you picture, Schwarzenegger. Usually, a lot of people just picture Terminator 2, the poster.
Sure.
Right there, we're sitting on the motorcycle. But it's kind of weird. Like, I don't have that with Chuck Norris. With Chuck Norris, I'm like, I can see him, but I don't see, say, Delta Force, because it was always him, Lee Marvin, and other people. I don't see Missing in Action because they all kind of blended together as far as, a character.
I couldn't even tell you Chuck Norris's name in Mission and Action.
Braddock.
But
okay, the third one's called Braddock.
Hell if I know.
But when you say Rambo, I actually think most people picture Rambo First Blood Part 2's poster. That's the most synonymous to the franchise. And, we see it everywhere, like Beverly Hills Cop. Rosewood loves Rambo. And that's a joke because of Cobra and Beverly Hills Cop and the director. Speaking of Beverly Hills Cop, do you know how long it took me to realize that the bad guy in this movie is the bad guy from the first Beverly Hills Cop?
Yep.
The Russian?
Yeah.
Like, not long ago, Charlie made that realization. Like, seriously, it was Steve Burkhoff. Yeah. And I forget, it was like Max or something like that he played in Beverly Hills Cop. No, Victor Maitland. So, and we just watched that the other day. So I was sitting there, I was like, oh, that's right. We're getting ready to do. He's the Russian guy in this one. And I get to say Russian in this episode
because it was the Russians.
It was flat out the Russians.
You're not like hurting my feelings.
Top Gun Maverick, where I named them the Russians the whole time.
Right. Because they were unnamed in Maverick, and this one they were definitely.
And I don't feel bad. So we're back not cool again. So now Rambo's cool.
Yeah, you guys were talking about the progressions of Rambo earlier, from First Blood, Rambo 2, Rambo First Blood Part 2, and then Rambo 3, and the movies escalate that way, because 2 is kind of a good mixture of First Blood and Rambo 3, where there is some heavy tones of like POWs and the Vietnam War, but it's so like over the top. Not too cheesy, but like,
it's touching it a little bit, but it's not quite there.
But he's still grounded in that, and it's still kind of serious as we're talking about POWs. And then, we escalate to Rambo 3, where it's just like, and further, where we just like blow everybody up. Like, he's just a murder machine.
Yeah.
Murder machine.
3, he kind of turns into this invincible hero. Is what
almost like a superhero.
He's very close to a superhero in 3.
Did he reach Seagal level in 3? Where
he's actually still
on him?
Oh hell no! He gets he gets a piece of wood.
Well, good.
Through his gut, and he has to pull it out and pour gunpowder in it and light it on fire to stop the bleeding.
Awesome. Is that how that works?
I don't know.
In the movies. That's right.
But later, Troutman looks at him and goes, "How's the wound treating you?" He goes, "You remember when you used to teach us how to ignore pain?" He's like, "Yeah, how's that working for you?" "It's not."
It's a good line.
It's a great line. That was another thing 3 brought, was a lot more one-liners.
Yeah.
They have, fuck it, I'm going to talk about Troutman and Stallone are like standing in front of the Russian army, and there's like tanks and jeeps and a helicopter and everything, and him and Troutman are just kind of standing out in the desert, and Troutman's like, "Well, what do you think, Johnny?" And he goes, "Surrounding them's out." It's just dumb shit like that. He goes, "It's a hell of a time for jokes, John." Oh, it's so good. I kind of wish there was a little bit more levity in this one, but I'm actually okay with it. I do think it gets a little heavy with the politics, and I know that's probably one of the biggest criticisms people have, is it weighs real heavy on the POW situation, which I don't have a stance on it. I was way too young. My dad wasn't in Vietnam. My dad was where he aged, he wasn't old enough to go. So when he served, he was just stationed, not Korean War, but he was stationed in Korea. And that's also another big reason why we watch these movies growing up. You know, it's war. And, you know, he kind of understood that little bit of the lifestyle mentality of it. But they do kind of like dig it in a little bit about missing POWs. And I know there's conflicting arguments about, were there POWs? Were there not POWs? I know there were some people that were grifting money back in the 80s. And we're talking about Reagan era. So, you know, it was, you know, America, you know, it's exactly where America, fuck yeah, should have been invented during the 80s. And that should have been Reagan's like campaign song, you know, the entire time during the 80s. But it was a different time. And this movie came out, and I know a lot of like veterans kind of watched the first movie going, wow, that's kind of how we felt. That's what it is when we came home. It's the closest I feel of portraying what they were going through when they came home. Still Hollywoodized. I know the novel does a totally different take on why Rambo's doing what he does. And he's supposed to die in that one. But now with this one, they kind of bring him back. And I felt this was more of kind of Stallone taking a look at what some of the veterans wish they could have done. You know, that moment of, man, if I could have done this, or man, what if I'd have been able to save so-and-so, or save this platoon from doing, you know, whatever happened back then. So he kind of took that and turned it into a Hollywood where it's a one man getting his chance to get revenge basically against a country, even though it's one small like prison, you know, village, whatever you want to call it, camp. But a lot of veterans, I'm sure during that time, were probably like, fuck yeah, get them. Get him back home, John Rambo. Do it. And my dad was never like that, but I kind of always got that impression from him. You know, my dad was very pro-military. You know, I was raised on a military base first few years of my life. My dad was very strict about certain things, not about other things, but it was kind of very military-esque upbringing for myself. So I kind of gravitate to these type of movies a little bit more than some people do, especially anyone nowadays born later. Like these movies fall on deaf ears. Anthony's seen them, but he's not like, yeah, let's watch Rambo again. It's like, that was a good movie, Dad. I enjoyed it. And that's it. What's the next one? next now, please. Liam, I don't know if he'll ever show interest in this level of action movies. He's my monster movie dude. We watch the Godzillas. You know, Pete will appreciate that. You know, let's go watch Godzilla versus Kong and all those movies, and he loves them.
That's my kid.
Yeah,
boy.
But you can just see that difference in the generations. That I was brought up in a time of pro-America, pro-military, pro, you know, serve. I didn't serve, saved my life not serving, because I probably would have died through basic because of health issue I didn't know I had. So yeah, when the doctors tell you that, that's kind of like, oh shit, I was real close to signing. And they're like, yeah, you probably would have died. I had an abscess in my liver.
Oof.
And it was so big that the doctors, when they found it and did everything, they were talking to me and they were like, yeah, if you'd have fell down wrong or took a punch or a kick in that area and it burst, we couldn't have saved you. It was pure poison. And I'm like, oh, I was like, so if I had gone through basic, he goes, oh yeah, you probably would have made about 3 weeks.
Dang.
Thanks, doc. I feel great. So don't always give anybody shit if they didn't serve and they're my age. Sometimes it saved our asses. But that's heavy enough for on Charlie's side of it. But it's also, I wanted to let people know why I gravitate to these type of movies. Now, Pete is the opposite side of the coin of me. But you were also raised in this kind of era, just, a few years older. What's the difference on why? And yeah, I'm gonna pull you. I'm gonna call you out, Pete.
Yeah.
Why does a movie like this not strike you like it does someone like me?
I don't like anything to do with war at all whatsoever. War is stupid. Governments going to war is stupid. The act of war is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Bless the soldiers for doing the job that they were paid to do, but war is stupid. I hate it. Hate everything about it. And
I can stand behind that. I mean,
guns aren't scary. Guns aren't personal. You can take out, what was it, Quigley Down Under? He could shoot a rifle at a mile and a half. Something like that.
You didn't even need to really see the person you're shooting at. You just needed a little blob of a person down there.
So I don't find guns exciting or scary. There are, how many serial killers in movies do we see use guns? Very, very few. I can only think of one off the top of my head, and that was the latest Terrifier.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He used a gun, and that was like
another reason clowns suck.
Right. But that was one of the biggest criticisms about Terrifiers. He used a gun. People were pissed off that he was using a gun. Because it's not personal. It's it doesn't take a whole lot of skill to shoot a gun. But to sneak up behind somebody with a big knife and slit them ear to ear, that's intimate. I mean, I want to say it's sexual, but you have to get very close to use a bladed weapon versus a gun. And that just, it dehumanizes death. Guns do. And I'm not cool with it.
That's understandable. I mean,
that's this guy.
And we've talked about it a little bit before, but I knew bringing this movie in, again, I was expecting Nate to be here because I'd have that. I'd kind of have that middle ground where Nate is kind of like
we got Micky. We don't need no Nate.
But I meant as far as when I picked it.
Oh,
Micky's great. Micky's doing fantastic here. Micky's going to be pro Rambo, and that's it. But I meant Nate was kind of the in between you and I, as far as views on certain things, especially in type movies, with guns. Because Nate, Rambo, but then he also has the same kind of like thoughts on politically, on one side or the other. Not that, and I don't fucking take a side. So this is nothing political with Charlie on this episode.
So
I don't give a shit. Okay, I am pro military and pro service members. Charlie's actually anti-government, so just to let everybody in on a little secret right there. Unless it's hard to tell.
Very anti-government,
and that's why I get drawn to this movie so much. It's about we are watching the government literally fuck over Americans blatantly, and I think some people take issue with that. But I'm like, look around. Currently,
I promise you, it happens this way more than it happens the other way. My grandfather did not serve. He was working for the railroad, and that was considered a vital.
That was a vital
occupation,
infrastructure.
That was.
Yes.
He worked for the railroad, so he was exempt from World War II and everything else. My dad was a couple months away. He was on the short list to get drafted when he was in college,
Mm-hmm.
But it never got to him in Vietnam. It never got to him. He was in school, became a teacher. He wasn't going to go out of his way to go to Vietnam.
No, I mean that's totally, if you, but, he was on the list, he wasn't dodging, he just wasn't called.
He wasn't dodging.
And just like my dad was not old enough to get pulled in.
So I don't have a family history of military service.
Right.
And I don't have a problem with that.
No.
I
don't think it's a requirement either to enjoy these movies or not enjoy these movies. I just thought it would be an interesting kind of take on, because you and I both have very different views on action movies and what we enjoy out of action movies. Now, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I want to hear what Micky has to say, and then I got something for you.
Oh, I like this. Hit us, Micky.
Just to go off what you guys are talking about, like I didn't have anyone in my immediate family that I can think of that was in service or anything like that. My grandfathers were. That was about it, and they didn't talk about it enough for me to know anything about it. But even in movies like this, I'm still drawn to movies like this, but it has a lot more to do with like the human element to it. So I'm big on movies that are like brotherhood and like just this thing where you could tell like it was about helping people for Rambo, and it wasn't about any politics. It wasn't about any of that stuff. He just wanted to help these guys who had basically sacrificed themselves for the country, and he just wanted to get them home. That was, and I always boil it down to that. Like, it's just, he was just trying to do the right thing when I watch these movies, because I'm with you. Like, the war stuff's stupid. Like, it's all for usually nefarious reasons. It's very rarely for like noble reasons.
It's
sometimes
all for money.
Sometimes it is.
Money
very
and oil.
Rarely is it.
Money, oil, resources.
But to see Rambo, this is about, just doing the right thing. I'm not here for money. I'm not here to make a good name for myself or anybody. I'm just here to save these dudes, and I'm gonna do whatever I got to do it. And he does it like a boss, and that's what I love about it.
It's a noble mission. It's about, I can go save my brothers.
Yeah.
Being able to go save people that he couldn't save originally. Yeah. And that's a big thing. Like, I get drawn into the character of Rambo in this one more just because of that. He is on a mission. I mean, what kid? I mean, I can say kid, but it was mostly, boys. And I don't mean to be sexist about it, but a lot of us, it's going to be accurate, unfortunately, no matter as much people want to not say it's accurate. We always wanted to be the hero of a story. You'd always daydream about something, saving your school, friends, or saving the girl you like, or, what, Red Dawn would happen. What would we do when the Russians come parachuting into small town Virginia like they would? I don't know why. This is actually the last place you guys are going to want to parachute into. Let me explain. The gun per population numbers around this area. It's not in your favor. But it was just instilled in us, and we got it in our Saturday morning cartoons, not just because Rambo was a cartoon, but that's what we were being fed. That was G.I. Joe, that was, even He-Man, it was more fantasy driven, Mask, all these other ones. It's about a mission, accomplishing it, sell a bunch of fucking toys. This is the American way.
But it also like, and at the end, it's my favorite line in the movie is, I just want the country to love us as much as we love it. Like, talking about the POWs.
I love that line.
And like,
yes,
to me, so that goes like beyond it. It goes beyond even military and war. Like, a lot of people are like that. Like, I'm giving my all to something. It could be your job. It could be whatever the hell it is. I just want it to care about me as much as I care about it. And a lot of times that doesn't happen. And this whole like attitude and like way of life kind of permeates, where it's just, well, fine, I'm not going to do anything. It's just about the money or whatever. Rambo sets the tone where it's like, I'm just It's about us. We're going to take care of each other because they don't love us as much as we love them.
Right. But regardless, I'll die for it. You know, that whole line where he goes, "Don't hate your country," and he's like, "Hate. I'll die for my country."
Hate the people running it.
Yeah, and there's the difference. And man, I tell you, that's where I get a lot of my thoughts from. And it's just like, to know I'm not the only one thinking that way too. And a lot of it is stemmed from watching these kind of movies. They're actually, telling a story that you don't realize is clicking until you're an adult, and you're like, oh shit. Well, that's why I think that way. Or that's why, me, I'm a very take charge kind of person. I'm also one that'll be the first one to help somebody if I'm able to. And I get that a lot from these type of movies. It's not always about how many people died. We have fun with that. That is,
really
some of the enjoyment.
Are you sure about that? You
but
have a whole segment about that.
I do have a whole segment about it. But I think the character has to have something that I am drawn to.
Oh yeah.
In order for that to, it's like Commando, a dad going to go save his daughter. Yeah. And that speaks a lot. And it speaks even more being a dad now and being like, fuck yes, I will move mountains to do it. Fun thing about that, and I bring up Commando on purpose, is, Stallone and Rambo is fully known about his survival knife. Schwarzenegger had the exact same knife guy. It was like one knife guy in Hollywood that made all these like iconic weapons. Okay. And it was, I want a knife bigger than Rambo's. So they would keep making bigger knives as these movies would go. Like Rambo makes his own knife in part 4. And that thing's a goddamn machete.
It's a sword, man.
It's a damn near a sword. Well, I mean, I guess Schwarzenegger wins. He ends up with a sword.
That's right.
Conan
but
does, yeah.
It was always this fun thing of one-upping each other.
Yeah.
Doing this with respect. It's not leading. It was never a middle finger to Rambo or anything like that. Hell, they poked fun at each other.
It's a friendly rivalry. For sure.
It is, and I grew up in the heart of that, where it's just like, oh yeah, what's Stallone gonna do now, or what's Schwarzenegger gonna do in this one? And it's just a bigger knife and a bigger fucking knife and a bigger fucking knife. And I love it. It tickles me so much. I mean, Pete, when you were talking about the intimacy of it, that's another thing I do like about particularly this Rambo movie is when he does get to use the knife. Like that one dude that's on top of the boat roof and he's got him by the garrote and he's choking him out. And Stallone's just struggling. The other boat's coming at him and he pulls it. I love just that unclip the latch on the knife and slowly pull it out and then gut it and twist it in that dude's stomach. That is a visceral.
That's a great kill.
That's a staring you in the eyeballs. And then to hide in the mud later.
Oh, I love that.
And stab that guy for. I know it's such a Predator.
Predator stole that.
He did.
Stole that.
He went. Damn it! I want to be covered in mud. Must be great for the skin. But he just drives that thing, and when that one Russian gets sucked into the caves, and he can't. He's scared he can't.
That was a lot of fun.
My God, I love that. And look, we're not going to talk through this movie. We're going to pick some highlights and stuff. But if you haven't seen Rambo 2 and you listen to this show, what's wrong with you? The horror stuff will be back next month, everyone. Okay. Next week, speaking of, we bring the horror back to the show. But this is a movie that honestly, I don't think the first person dies till like
34
minutes.
34 minutes in. This is a lot of build up and expedition, but we also get the gear up scene where he's getting all his shit on before Commando did it. So again, we got to get this, get it, put the knife in the holster, tie my boots, sharpen the. Oh God, I love the sharpening of the knife.
I that's something I really love about it. That whole 34 minutes, we see the knife a lot. And, he doesn't use it. Like even the unbuckling it really slow and taking it out, he does that a time or two. And then when we finally get to the first kill, and that's the knife, right? Like he throws it right and hits the guy.
Yeah, I think because he does the silent kill first. He throws the knife first.
So, I was like, hell yeah! I just love all that build up.
He pulls it out on the first boat ride, and he's
to show her,
it shows, this is my lucky thing. Well, you bring the
Right.
luck.
To show the
this.
beautiful Julia Nixon from Double Dragon fame, by the way.
Yes. She is also, I think she is, isn't she also the one in Sidekicks? They bring her in with Chuck Norris and
They make her do that terrible
that
broken
that
English accent. I was like, man,
bad.
it's the 80s.
Yeah. That was 90s. That was like early 90s, but it was real close. But yeah,
that's why I got a pass, man. I'm like, nope. I
Although
don't care.
they made old dude get a little racist on it too. The bad guy. Oh God, what's his name from Dead Heat? Damn it, I can't even think of his name. And I'm a fan of his. The comedian guy. They give him the teeth and everything, I think, in that movie too.
Oh Lord.
If I remember right,
Rambo.
In the Sidekicks. With Chuck Norris and what was the name of the kid? He died.
Wasn't Chris Farley in Sidekicks?
I know. I don't know his name, but I know.
No, you're thinking Beverly Hills Ninja.
I'm gonna get those mixed up.
No,
I just call him the bowl cut kid because that's how I remember.
Jonathan Brandis is the
There you
kid.
go.
He's getting bullied in high school. His dad lets him take martial arts, and he starts learning it from this old, like in every other movie, an old man teaches it to him, and they go to a tournament and they need one more person. And just so happens Chuck Norris is there. So, and this kid daydreams about Chuck Norris all the time.
Doesn't he have him as like an imaginary friend throughout?
It's his best friend. He relives all the movies.
Yeah.
And then Chuck Norris, it's Joe Piscopo. Joe Piscopo we'll keep this on track. He's the Martin Cove.
Yeah, he's the Cobra Kai guy.
He's the Cobra Kai guy who is also in Rambo 2. So Martin Cove plays not quite the helicopter pilot. He is the pilot in one scene, but he's just
flying. He flew the jet and then the helicopter, I think.
Yeah, because then you had the other blonde dude that never talked, and I think
But he was like the.
He's the one that let him get out of the airplane,
Yeah.
And Rambo got hung up. God, man, that was such a weird thing and a weird decision. Like, we're gonna give you with like the best equipment, the best tech. You're gonna be perfectly safe, and he immediately has to cut all that shit off. Like now, immediately.
Now help me out here. So he's supposed to go take pictures, right?
Right.
Just to prove that there are POWs.
Right.
But then they give him an arsenal that doubles his weight.
Yeah.
I didn't see them hand him a camera.
Well, he did have the camera. He loads it with film.
Was it a Polaroid or something?
Yeah, it was like an old style
it
Canon or something where he flips it open and
never
puts
a digital camera back then. Of course, it was old style.
He's not going to shake it,
He had
like
to
a
go
Polaroid picture. Oh yeah, he had to crank it over
wind
himself.
up the film, get it going. Yeah,
his little cardboard box.
I missed the camera. I was going to lay into you because, like, dude, he's supposed to take pictures. Dude, don't got no camera.
No, they make a point.
It was somewhere
They show
between
it,
sharpening the knife and glistening up his muscles. Somewhere.
Yeah. It was around that area.
How do you put on a shirt with that much oil on? You would get so much back knee.
Yeah,
all over. Like,
look, Pete, the shirt was only going to be on.
Popper would have to. She'd be working overtime on this guy.
The shirt's on max an hour. That's we're not.
True.
I don't need the shirt on the whole movie. It's totally good. But yeah, he has to cut all this shit off. He's out there with nothing, not even a radio. They just give
somehow
him
he got his bow and arrow back though, and
that was on like a leg harness that he had.
Oh,
so he cut. So he had like the MP5, the camera, and I think the radio and a few other things like were on the front pack. So he cut the front pack off when that strap got attached to the airplane. So he still had the parachute, and so the arrows were like strapped to one side, the knife is strapped to the other. Because I mean, he literally goes in, he has no gun, nothing.
Yeah, he goes down with
he has the knife and the bow and arrow, which is also why it that has also become synonymous with Rambo, a knife and bow and arrow.
He also had about 400 arrows, I think.
Well, he's like Hawkeye. You just have to run right over and pick it back up out of the sky.
You shoot one arrow, even if it explodes, just run up to it and pin it, throw it back in the quiver.
You go get it.
I looked online to see if anyone counted. I mean, people count how many people died in this.
Yeah.
I wanted to see if anyone had counted how many arrows were shot in this movie.
Oh my
I
God.
couldn't find it. He had to have killed 100 people with, well, maybe not 100, because I don't think 100 people.
There's probably a
died
good
in
20 or 30 died from arrow.
At
when
least
when he started doing the exploding arrows, for sure, he racked up some numbers.
That is, to this day, some of my favorite, and it's so ridiculous. And like, what sound guy went, you know what's going to sound cool when you screw on the explosive tip is it makes a sound like and they poke fun of it in Hot Shots Part 2 when he starts putting the arrow tip on it and it squeaks really fucking loud like it's because these explosive tips and
when he cocks the arrow back, it makes a sound.
Well, yeah, got to cock that hammer back.
Wait a minute,
that hammer bicep, sir.
Cracking me up. Jody's watching this with me. She had a lot to say about the music, but in particular, this is like, what arrows? Bow and arrows don't make that kind of noise. Even a compound.
That's his elbow.
That was totally. That was back. It was replaced back in Nam with Cotton Hill. They took my kneecaps and my shin bones. They took Rambo's elbow, and so he had a mechanical one put in. Never could get that click out of it. But even when the explosive tip arrows explode, it had like this higher pitch, like. It's just like so specific. Yet I've never heard anything sound like that before.
By the way, at this point in the movie, this is one of those scenes where I'm like, okay, this dude just burned down that people's village. Like, it's gone now.
Yeah, the chicken scene.
Just some fishing village chilling, and he just burned it down.
Gone.
I'm pretty sure they killed a chicken. I don't think that was fake. I think they
killed
the
chicken,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure that was.
And he left that blood trail to lead him.
That was a good trick, though. I love that.
But I was like, that's probably the most brutal, hardcore kill he does. Like, he traps them in the fire in the field. And they're literally burning to death in there. And no matter where they go, he fires a couple of the explosive tips and blows them up and causes the fire to go more. But it's insane. But that was just this whole time, though. I'm just like, fuck yes, Rambo!
Launch another one.
Shoot it again. It's like he shoots that one giant personnel character on the bridge. Yeah. You're like, what about the Jeeps? My God, he pulls one out and shoots the Jeeps too. I was like, yeah. Love it. And there's so much build up. I like the torture scene in this movie. Whenever they got him up on the bed rack, the springs. And they're cranking that voltage up.
Whatever they were dipping him in.
Oh, yeah. That was pig shit. And,
like legit pig shit?
Yeah, it was coming out of the pin. There was irrigation system just coming from the pin into that thing.
The pig pen's at the top of the hill.
From what I understand, it wasn't good water.
Clearly.
I mean, in real life.
Oh,
they're calling it gray water is a stretch.
In real life, that was not good water they dipped him in. And I still, to this day, still think they put leeches on him. I didn't look. Dude, when that one guy comes over with his knife and takes that one off of him, either that dude's a brilliant special effects guy that can leave, or they said, fuck it, put a real leech on it. They're free.
They're free. There's one over there.
Stallone's like, I got enough blood. It's okay. Stick them on me. Oh, to this day, I fucking hate leeches just because of that scene right there, man.
Yeah, it's gross.
Oh, hate it. But yeah, the torture scene. Obviously, this is what I open up the show on. I have always loved the radio call. He's getting pissed off. He's like, you just make a radio call. What do you think you can do? He's like, fuck you. Yes, fuck you. We all want to say that to your face. But yeah, whilst things don't happen a whole lot in the beginning, this movie's still only like 95 minutes long.
Yeah, it's under 100 minutes.
Yeah, it's actually breezes by even with the little bit, I won't say drag, it's just non-action at the beginning, but there's a lot of things happening at the beginning of the movie. But it's like as soon as he gets captured and then how do you say it? Kobao.
Oh yeah.
And Kobao comes back in to help him escape. I still think he was going to do it regardless of her being there. But man, she helps out a lot. Fun fact, Nate Smith's in this one. We get a returning writer/director we've had on here a few times this year. So we've had Terminator 2, we've had Aliens, we've had True Lies. So we've had one Mr. James Cameron on here quite a lot. He's a writer for Rambo 2. Him and Stallone are the two writers. Now, Cameron only claims the action side of it.
Yeah.
And
he said Stallone changed a lot of the script he wrote.
He did. And Cameron gave him a sidekick in his first draft. I know who. Why don't you tell us who, Mickey?
It's Mr. Staying Alive himself, John Travolta.
Ew.
Can you imagine John Travolta in the early 80s, like literally Staying Alive, Travolta,
super skinny.
But apparently, he was originally thought of for the original First Blood.
The first one.
Him, right?
Well, if you think about it, that I don't think he was even written as a big
right
guy. And Stallone wasn't huge yet when they did First Blood. He was fit. He had muscles, because they were going to do a nude scene with him, so he wanted to look good, obviously.
Sure.
But it wouldn't have mattered having this hulking guy playing Rambo in the first movie, because no one knew what that was. No one knew what Rambo meant. No one knew what this character was going to grow to. It's like now this one, he's fucking insanely cut. Like, I mean, you can count every muscle. That's like an anatomy book right there. And somehow he goes bigger in part 3. Like when he, and he's dude, it might be, but
like
his
back when he does the thing in 3, I'm like, good God.
There's muscles I don't think exist.
Not naturally.
Oh my God.
It's crazy because not a lot of action stars back then looked like that. I think he might have been the only one. Now they all do, right? But like back then, physical fitness was just like you were bulky, but there weren't a whole lot of guys cut like that.
You had Arnold, you had
Arnold
Stallone,
was cut, but never cut Lundgren. Like
I mean, like with like a 16-pack.
Yeah, I think Arnold didn't do that.
That's all about fitness, not just
he was cut in a way that you see like a lot of professional athletes look like that now. But back then a lot of guys didn't look like that.
Look at like Statham, how he's a little bit smaller frame, but as far as cut and see like all his fucking, especially his back, where he was a swimmer with his back muscles, he does that. But I think that's a difference people have. Just like what Pete was kind of thinking is Schwarzenegger was never as cut as huge. Stallone was in the
movies.
In the movies. Now when he was when he was bodybuilding 100%, it was everything was popping. But I believe he just kept the bulk as the movies progressed, because I mean, I think he only takes his shirt off once in T2, and that's whenever they're doing something towards the end or they show something of one of the T800s.
Didn't we see his butt in T1?
That's right.
Oh, we did. We see his butt in T2, but
how
we don't
can you
see
forget that.
No. I saw Mark Dacascos's granite ass in
that's
Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Pretty sure Mark wins hands down.
That was something to behold. And it keeps coming back.
Maybe I should rephrase my words.
Maybe you should. All right, maybe we should hit a commercial real quick.
Oh, hey, how about that?
Let Pete compose himself.
You want a war? Well, you got it right after this.
Are you in search of a refined and elevated podcast?
One where you can sit back with a cup of tea and indulge in the finest film cinema has to offer?
One where precision and polish comes before anything else?
Well, you've come to the wrong place.
We are Cinema Slab,
a podcast where we let our nerd flags fly and review our favorite movies and shows, new and old.
We're all besties.
And one brother and sister.
And we love discussing movies with each other. Whether it's a record-breaking television show that has us glued to our TVs every week.
We're like private investigators, except for no one hired us or asked for our help.
An ooey-gooey practical effects-filled horror movie.
Or a cult classic masterpiece.
You shoot me in a dream, you better wake up and apologize.
We're sure there's something for you on Cinema Slab.
I'm your Scream Queen, Anna.
Yeah, you're gonna love this one. It's a scream, baby.
I'm your gore gal, Hannah.
I kick ass for the Lord.
And I'm your favorite little brother, Hunter.
I'd rather not spend the rest of this winter
tied to this couch.
And join us each week on Cinema Slab
as we bond together over our love of cinema.
And all things media and entertainment related.
I didn't come here to talk. Lucky for you, they did.
This guy sounds familiar.
Who's that weirdo?
I don't know. What a handsome man, though.
Whoa! There he is!
Better watch what you say about John Mortis here, Pete. Oh, man. Go ahead, Pete. Hit me.
I got something for you.
Uh-oh.
So I'm watching Rambo. That's a really dumb thing to say. And I'm watching the movie. I'm like, this is dumb. Look at all the people they're killing. It's just left and right and in the most ridiculous ways. And stuff is blowing up. And how long did he hold his breath underwater to wait for that perfect moment to spring up and shoot that arrow in somebody's chest? And no way. And the mud scene was very funny because it was just the mud wall and then an eye. And then the next cut is him in mostly dried mud standing up against some sort of brown wall. And sorry, these are not hidden that well. And it was starting to make me laugh because of the absurdity. And then I'm going, God damn it, Pete, you're a fucking hypocrite. Because this is the same thing, just with a different weapon as my Kung Fu movies are, or my samurai movies are. It's the same damn thing where this guy with a sword is mowing down tens of people left and right, not taking any damage, where these guys are kung fuing all around a bedroom or through a gymnasium or up and down a tree, jumping through windows. And I have a problem with myself now because I have
conflicted him.
I say I don't like action movies, but I just love the absurdity of these kung fu movies, of these samurai movies. They just bring great joy to my heart. The earnestness of the Lone Wolf and Cub movies, how there isn't a lick of humor in them at all, but all of a sudden Lone Wolf is pushing Cub down this hill while his son is riding in a baby cart. The baby carriage opens up and starts firing guns, mowing down
a fucking minigun, Pete. I haven't forgot, sir. I haven't forgot.
And then these katanas spring out from the side of the damn baby cart, cuts people's legs off. Oh my God.
Sounds like a good time.
It's not the one he brought on the show, and I got to see a preview of that and went, where was that movie? I would have loved it.
We just gotta set the stage.
Yeah,
I mean, that movie was that first movie was The Mandalorian, and I wanted you guys to see where the Mandalorian got all their stuff.
Right.
Mandalorian, wonderful, don't get me wrong, but anyway, we're not talking about
it's hard to have an original idea. I mean, look how many movies have been derived from Rambo and these
there were
things.
Clear scenes taken out of Lone Wolf and used in Mandalorian, and it's fine. I didn't have a problem with it. I just want everybody to know that this isn't terribly
Was
original.
this like me calling you out on the one kung fu movie, and it's nothing but cops shooting at everyone at the opening scene. And I'm like, how is this any fucking different than what I watch?
Well,
just without subtitles.
It was kung fu. Anyway, so I'll let you know, Charlie, that I do have a confliction now that I recognize that a lot of these stupid action movies are much like my stupid kung fu movies.
Right. And I'll give you this, and we talked about this when we covered it, but something like Missing in Action was action without the fun.
Oh, it was no fun
in it. This one
had some fun in it.
It had some fun because they just the director's like, we had to keep thinking up new ways to kill Russians, because you can only shoot so many with an arrow or kill so many with guns and explosions. So, and I like it. It's kind of a good mixture, especially, like you said, when he's hiding in the mud. No one expected that the first time you watched this movie.
Right.
Like, we didn't know what Predator was yet. And
right.
So seeing him and you're, as a kid, you're like, holy fucking shit, where's the closest mud bog that I can go hide and scare the shit out of my friends with? That's exactly what I want to go do. And then, trapping them and snaring them into the caverns there and the caves around the rock cliffs. It just kept getting interesting. I will give you some credit, though. I still watched the one scene where the helicopter comes strafing around. They drop the big napalm bomb and blow up an entire hillside, and Stallone's under the water, and they show the helicopter probably a good 20 feet above the water, but then it cuts to the guy in the helicopter's view, and Rambo jumps up and grabs his ass. And I'm like, that motherfucker can jump.
You can jump out of water at that.
So this brings that was something I was thinking of when I was watching it, right? I was like, okay, that helicopter was way up higher when they were mowing down that river or whatever. But it also made me think, you could get away with that with these old practical movies. If it was CGI, we're like, nah, I don't believe it. But for some reason, when you're watching it and it was a real stunt, legit, you kind of I gave it a pass, man. It's badass and it's cool. It's not some CGI helicopter that
100%.
Some
I
guy
give it a pass
coming out of the water or something in a weird way. It looked like a dude coming out of the water and grabbed a helicopter, and I was like, okay, that's cool, whatever, I don't care.
I mean, it's me now looking at it going, hey, how the fuck they do that? That doesn't make sense. As a kid, I didn't give a shit. I was like, this is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
Rambo's so badass, he scared the pilot out of the helicopter. That dude
great.
just, and I love the subtlety of, okay, well, maybe the pilot might live, but they immediately cut to the camera going across all the rocks.
Oh, yeah.
You don't see the pilot hit him, but you're like, that motherfucker hit the rocks. Like, he's dead too. And I was just little things like that, or I'm just like, this is so cool.
This movie felt like a canon film, and it wasn't, was it?
It's Caracola, which wasn't far.
Okay.
Caracola did things like Total Recall, things like that. They actually have a really good documentary out too. It came with I think it came with my Total Recall 4K.
It can't be as bonkers as a canon.
Not quite as bonkers, but they talk about a lot of the things that they were involved with. The Mario Casar and the guys that did the Rambo movies. You always see their names pop up. Not and so much so that Carolco, after Rambo First Blood Part 2, they kept using the Rambo song when the Carolco signal would pop up. Because I remember as a kid, watch this movie, and then I was able to start watching others, and I would pop in something from Carolco, and I go, motherfucker, did I put in Rambo 2 again? And I'd have to wait long enough to VHS, Pete. VHS, sir.
Sorry. Nice.
Nate got me Rambo First Blood Part 2 on VHS not long ago.
Yeah.
And then I did a show, and I saw Rambo Part 2 sitting there, and I was like, well, that box is actually decent. It was $1. I was like, I'll give you $1. And I got home, it has a sticker added to it, says subtitulada and
subtitles. Is that
what subtitled in Spanish?
So when you actually, I put the tape back on it because they didn't even cut the tape. It's the subtitled in Spanish version of Rambo.
That's awesome.
It's identical boxes. They just slapped a big sticker on it, and the tape does. But I did, when I took it out, the little security tab on the bottom, they peeled it, pulled the tape out and peeled the security tab back in. So I was able to peel the security tab back off, put the VHS in, and reseal it.
Nice.
So now it can't fall out like my other one does. But yeah, I got 2 copies of Rambo 2. Yeah,
Approved.
Two different ones. So it counts. I love it. No, but yeah, I would see that, and it was just like, and now I hear that song, and it pissed me off because I watched this on Amazon. I rented it because I have the DVD, which were the survival
Do you
versions.
hear this guy? He has VHS, DVD, probably the 4K restoration, and he still rents the goddamn thing from Amazon.
I haven't bought.
What
these
is
on
wrong with
Blu-ray.
you,
I
sir?
haven't bought these on Blu-ray yet. I haven't. I'm kind of wanting them to do like a really nice box set of all of them.
It's coming, you know it.
But it was a hard thing when the Blu-rays first came out. I had the DVDs that had this separate mode called survival mode.
What
And
is this?
the menu would pop up and there's like this like tracking bullet dot thing.
Okay.
And you would hit survival mode and it would give you info during the movie. It was kind of like VH1 pop-up video like Dustin was talking about.
Pop-up videos.
But it would give you like there was file cards for like, you know, Rambo and Troutman and all this other stuff.
That's
so
fun.
for the longest time I went, this is fucking perfect. But I wanted a cleaner version of it. So I watched it last night. No Carolco intro. It's fucking Trimark because they're who bought Carolco out.
That's what
so they got rid of the original opening, and I'm like, motherfucker.
Yeah, the copy I watched online was TriStar.
There's something about those old school intros, man, that just, you know, the old Canon one, the old Carolco, the Lion Roar, what is that, MGM or whatever it was. You know, the old ones just hit different. The old Fox ones hit so much better than the newer versions. It was Fox Spotlight or Searchlight, whatever it was.
20th Century Fox, right? Or is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was.
That TriStar Pegasus is pretty cool too.
It's
pretty
cool. But it wasn't what I was expecting. Carolco.
Yeah.
Playing Rambo 2 theme song before I watch Rambo 2. It's important, damn it. I feel incomplete. No, but I love it. And then, you know, we get towards the end of the movie, you know, just because we're getting closer to doing the things here. You know, the helicopter fight, the fucking giant ass Russian helicopter.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I want to know who was shooting that gun in the helicopter when Rambo was piloting it and taking out that camp. Because they had a man on it. When he took it down, they had a man on it. And now he's flying it, and I'm like, is he controlling it? Is there a way to control it? Who the hell is shooting that gun?
So I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think there's a couple of quick cuts. There are forward guns on that helicopter that aren't the side minigun or the M60 that is on the side that are belt fed. I do believe that helicopter had 2 front mounted machine guns because he's able to fire those in the rockets on his attack of the camp. But yeah, I mean, so many weird cuts, and again, at this point, I was like, I don't give a shit. He could just be firing a pistol. He could be firing a pistol out the window, and I'll believe
I'm with you,
it.
Mickey.
Because he's like he's doing all this right here, like kind of like like he's a race car driver, looking back and like I'm like, dude, this is wild.
There's a lot of dodgy gunplay here.
So much, and then when the giant
many
gunship
bullets do you
comes
have?
out,
that thing was badass.
God, it's just something about Russia may not be known for a lot of things, but big goddamn military vehicles is what they're known for.
Yeah.
You know,
there's no way they would have got away on that helicopter. That thing was state of the art.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I think they had speed and agility, but that thing was already smoking whenever he took it over, so it was already hurt. And just it is a little stretch to believe that they took out. I did like the POWs firing at the gunship, and they took out that one gunner on the side, and was like, that was actually badass. I liked it. And they had to fake it to where it looked like they blew up and they landed. First off,
that was clever.
It's clever, but as a pilot of the other helicopter going, it's still spinning. I'm not going to just stare. I'm going to fire a couple of goddamn rockets at that motherfucker.
That's the movie villain trope, man. I got to sit there and just
so
enjoy my
is.
victory and just slowly smile like, I got you.
I want to see his dead body. I want to see it. And and then as a kid, this was the most amazing thing ever. Is Rambo popping up with a rocket launcher, firing into that helicopter. And Pete, we already talked about this during True Lies, and I think I brought this up going, just like the guys in the back of the helicopter, they all would have been either dead or hurt from the blast coming out the back. That one was not as bad as the rocket they fire in True Lies. That was a big one. But still, that one dude that's been shot was laying under it. You know, he's probably like, God damn it, no, okay. He's like, I'm gonna sear the wound. It'll be okay. No, don't do that.
Cauterize the wound.
Cauterize the wound.
No.
And then to the greatest ending in most action movies. I mean, you've got Arnold killing the Predator in a giant explosion. You've got Eddie Murphy kicking ass and got the laugh at the end and going to a strip club. But the end of Rambo 2, when he lands that helicopter and everyone's scrambling to get the POWs out, they're celebrating. Martin Cove walks up to him. Good to see you alive. Kicks that motherfucker in the nuts.
That's great.
As he's carrying the M60 with a little bit of belt wrapped around his fucking
whip.
arm.
The whip was badass with the belt. I was like, oh, my man's going to do work.
And he steps in that doorway and pauses and Murdoch is hiding in his office. Troutman knows exactly what the fuck's about to happen. And he's just like, I'm not getting involved. And Rambo blows apart all the computers, all the technology that was supposed to keep him safe and find these people. It was all bullshit, and he's pissed off. And he finishes firing that gun straight up in the air in the most
classic.
Walks into Murdoch, pissing his fucking pants. Grabs hold of that motherfucker, holds the knife above him, slams it down right beside his fucking head. He's like, there's more of them out there. Find them, or I'll find you. I gotta go run around for a minute. Got too much testosterone flowing. God, I love this.
And then just walks off,
man.
How will you live? I forgot what he said.
How will you live? Day by day.
There you go. Yeah.
Day by day. And even Stallone has kind of come out and said, yeah, my speech at the end of that is a little bit cheesy. The sentiment, I think, is still relevant. You're not going to win an Oscar for this one, Stallone. No. I think this one was nominated.
It was nominated for sound.
Sound, yeah. It must have
been
the explosive arrow tip. Explosive tipped arrows. That's Oscar worthy, sir. Nominating that motherfucker right now.
Yeah.
Click. I've never heard an arrow sound that good. Oh my God. But I think the point gets across. He goes, you'll get another medal for this. And he's like, give it to them.
Yeah.
They deserve it. And they do. They've been through way more than he had. He just was able to get them out. And, Troutman what's he going to do? What's he going to do? Fucking stop him? Right. He's not going to go back because they're probably going to put him in jail.
Yeah.
We don't get that till the end of, I think it's the end of 3.
Yeah.
He goes back home. And, I think it's a perfect ending because then it sets up a perfect opening for, Rambo Part 3.
They were clearly thinking future.
Yeah.
Oh,
for sure.
Stallone
that's
was
okay.
literally already going multi-movie franchise. Like I'm really shocked it took so long between 3 and 4. Like,
how many years was that?
Almost 20.
Jeez, between 3 and 4. I'm sorry.
3 and 4. Yes, the 3 was 94, 93 or 94. I think when that
for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe that was a Stallone thing. Maybe he was like, I've made my money on this.
Well, he was also like busy. He,
doing Rhinestone and.
Well, no, I mean,
don't
now
my mama will shoot. Oh, don't
stop her.
Stop her. My mom will shoot. This was also, I think this is the time when there was a Rocky movie and a Rambo movie coming out the same year.
Take a break, son.
I think Rocky 3 came out for Rambo 2.
So he traveled to Mexico to film Rambo 2, and then to Russia to. Did he actually go to Russia?
That was Rocky 4. I don't know if they were in Russia.
Rocky 4. Oh, was it Rocky? I'm sorry.
And the reason that they made a point about that is because originally the villain for Rambo 2, and this was already signed and contracts done, Dolph Lundgren was supposed to be the villain in Rambo 2. And when Stallone found out, he's like, he's already like listed for Rocky 4. You know, we already got that going. He bought his contract out so that they could recast it. Because I kind of get it. I think it would have been weird to have Dolph
making money
as the villain in this, and then all of a sudden he's the villain in Rocky. I think that would have been a little weird to see.
Yeah,
but it was kind of wild to hear that they were like, yeah, we got the perfect Russian, this Swedish guy. You know, he'd make a great He-Man one day. You know, so
I think they got the right two guys for that part.
I honestly, I think they did. I think that guy, the main guy that was the villain in Beverly Hills Cop, he plays a great Russian. Jackie's watching it last night and she's barely paying attention. You'll be so proud, Pete. But she looks up during the torture thing. She goes, "Is that fucking Sphinx from Gone in
like Vinny Jones?"
Vinny Jones. And I went,
done.
"No, honey, he'd be a lot younger in this role." And she waited till it showed his face again. She goes, "Yeah, no, that's not him." I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't fucking say that. I didn't say that's not him."
That's my girl.
Love you, Jackie. All right, boys, I say we get into the things. What do you think? All right.
Yeah.
Leave anything for us?
Just bodies. Body count. Body count. Body count. Body count.
All right. Rambo 2 really does up the body count from Rambo 1. I think it's barely 10, maybe not even 10. No, it's not. I think it's sub 10 in the first movie.
Well, yeah, that makes sense because
a few people die on the siege. The guy falls out of the helicopter.
It's not a mass murder sort of thing.
It's not.
It's a small town rampage.
Yeah. Totally different story. One day we will cover that. That's a serious kind of movie that I want to treat it with the respect it deserves. So, but yeah, they really upped the numbers for Rambo First Blood Part 2. 85 people die in this movie.
Is that all?
That's that all. And I'm pretty sure
it does feel a little low, Mickey.
I think it said something like all,
like
but
were those transport trucks that he blowed up with an arrow?
Are we counting all the people in that fishing village?
Yeah, right.
I don't know if we're counting all the fishing villages. Definitely 2 chickens, so but we can put that on there.
I hope the chickens are in there because they died for real.
I'm pretty sure it's like all but like 15 are by Rambo himself. So yeah, because Co dies
and condensed, like you said, no one died. No one. First kill was 30 plus minutes.
34 minutes in, so 85 kills in the last hour essentially of the movie.
1.2 per minute in the last.
Yeah. That's a
that
good
helicopter
ratio.
scene took out quite a few.
Yeah. Oh, he was blowing people away with Mickey's unsure of what gun he was firing helicopter scene. But I love it. All right, let's pick our favorite ones.
Have you ever killed anyone?
Yeah, but they were all bad.
Mickey, first time on this side of the podcast, so we'll start with you, bud. What is your favorite kill of Rambo First Blood Part 2?
There is no way that it's not the exploding arrow at the waterfall, where this guy has been a pain in his ass quite a few times up to this point. It's just been he's not the big bad, but he's like the one that keeps.
He's pretty big bad.
He keeps he's a pain in his side for sure.
He's not right hand, he's left hand.
Yeah, and he's the biggest jerk out of those guys. So, and then my man oh God, and he thought he was just going to run away. He didn't even try to zigzag or anything.
Serpentine
takes his time, and as he's getting shot at too, I think he's getting shot. Rambo's getting shot at this point. He's just taking his time.
Yeah,
boom! This dude blows up everything but his guy's boots, and it was hilarious.
I love it.
Awesome.
I love it so much. Pete, what's your favorite kill of Rambo First Blood Part 2?
So when that guy Mickey was talking about turns around and sees the arrow just about, he pretty much looks at the camera and goes, shrugs his shoulders and goes,
Yeah.
"Oh, I had a good life," and then blows up like a scanner, you know?
Yeah.
And the only thing that would have made it better is if his boots had just stood there.
Yeah.
In the greatest Looney Tunes fan. Oh, it's that cat. That one made me laugh, just bust out laughing.
Well, I was purposely not bringing that one up as we were talking
Yeah.
because I knew that was just something as a kid. You're like, yeah,
Yeah, oh yeah, that was a cheer.
and he's firing at Rambo with an AK-47, and Rambo's taking cover, and it's bullets bouncing around. And then when he runs out of ammo, Stallone stands up, and the guy pulls out a pistol, and he fires off 1 or 2 shots, and it's almost like Rambo saw. Yeah, I was reminded of Judge Dredd when they're firing the guns down from the building, and he goes, "They don't have the lethal after so many feet." And I was like, "Oh, that's where this is coming in." And he's like, "He's not even going to be able to hit me with that fucking pea shooter," and just ranges that motherfucker. And the guy runs a little bit, turns around, shoots again till he's out. And you're right, Pete. He just stands there like, "Oh." I was waiting for him to hold one of the signs that would have a picture of yikes. Uh-oh. and the kiss on top it's an explosive tip arrow, not just because he's firing regular arrows too. He's not just firing explosive ones, but that explosive tip. And
cherry on top of that kill.
It's pink and poof powder just explodes. Mickey and I have seen some incredible dummy kills.
Oh man,
this one does it a little better as far as realism. Pete, there's some I have to show you, and I won't make you watch the whole movie.
I appreciate that.
I'll send you the clips.
I will also appreciate that.
Yeah, there's been some that Gene Simmons has an amazing one in Wanted Dead or Alive.
Chef's kiss.
And what was it? Robo War. Robo War literally has white stuffing flying through the air when they blow people up.
That's lovely. I love that so much.
It's so good. All right. Well, we're all in unison on that. Perfect. I love it. All right. We are going to rank on our scale of Al Leong how much we love this. And yes, Pete, I have kept the theme going. The sound matches the movie.
Excellent.
Oh, I love it. That was an M60, so it's totally good. Mickey, let's start with you again, sir. On 1 to 10 Al Leongs, you can do halves. What are you ranking Rambo First Blood Part 2?
Rambo First Blood Part 2 gets 8.5 Al Leongs.
Solid.
Just
solid.
Balls to the wall fun. There is some meat and potatoes there too, right? So it's not just straight up over the top action movie. Again, I'll bring it up the wonderful Julia Nixon, who actually had a really good part in this movie.
I loved her.
We didn't talk
about
enough
her, but
I know they gave her that
her.
terrible accent, but she still took it, and ran with it, right?
I
Did a
think
really good
in
job.
this one, I'm okay with it better because she would have been Vietnamese and had broken English. But whenever you actually hear her talk and she speaks really, really good fucking English,
she's
you kind of
American.
feel, yeah. But I mean, she's also fluent in other languges, though.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what I mean. Yeah, we'll do sidekicks one day. Pete will understand what me and Mickey are talking about.
Okay.
But yeah, sorry. Continue.
No, you're good. So, yeah, good bad guys, people you want to see die, and yeah, it's a well-rounded movie. It's a lot of fun. You're not there for anything like Oscar worthy, just a ball.
No. But Oscar nominated for
That's
sure.
right. The only Rambo movie to get an Oscar nomination.
I'm shocked that the first one didn't get some sort of a nomination.
I am too. That's
right.
I don't
legit
think
brilliant movie.
I don't think they knew
What to do with it,
that
probably.
movie.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I think so.
PTSD was still something that wasn't entirely diagnosed at that time,
No.
which is really sad because people were
It is.
definitely going through it.
Oh God, yeah. It was. I don't want to say epidemic, but it was a big problem.
It was epidemic because it wasn't treated.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I was just getting ready to say there was something that they didn't even know how to treat or what to call it. But yeah. So Pete, what are you ranking? I'm a little nervous, but again, you can't hurt my feelings because I already know. But what are you ranking this movie?
I got it at a 6.5 because it's a recommend.
Holy shit!
Yeah, I'm not going to go watch this one again. But
I never thought you would.
At
I
six
mean,
and a half,
seriously.
I'm like, yeah, if you haven't seen this, absolutely go watch it. It is, as Micky said, just it's a bundle of fun. It's just not my kind of action. So there you go, 6.5.
Fair. Jesus, I'm happy. The month of action was a success.
I think so. Yep.
I mean, I'm not hiding anything. This one totally gets a 9. This is a must see if you are a fan of action movies.
That's inarguable.
Yeah,
Yes.
I will go so far as to say, if you are a fan of action movies, you have seen this movie, and you are more than likely a fan of this movie. If you're just down dipping your toes and you like these kind of movies, if you're one of our younger listeners, you haven't touched onto the Rambos, we do recommend go 2, 3, then to 1. That is kind of the way I highly recommend going. Unless
How
you're
strange, but yes.
Yeah. Once you
right.
do that, you'll understand. Not saying that if you watch one and then the rest that it hurts anything, but I think you'll have more fun with the character.
Very different movie.
And then you'll see one, because one can stand alone. Straight up. It can just be its own thing.
He should have died at the end of that movie. I mean, legit.
Yeah. But we wouldn't have what we talked about. We wouldn't have the pop culture that we wouldn't have Gizmo putting on a red bandana and making a bow and arrow in Gremlins 2.
My God, you're right.
Yeah.
Yes.
What would Gizmo have done in Gremlins 2?
He'd have covered himself in mud like Predator. But yeah, yes, totally a 9. I think I can still say that as enjoyment wise, I enjoy watching part 3 a little bit more, but normally I'll watch them in succession. I'll get in the mood to watch the First Blood, and then I'm like, those are a damn good movie. Now I want to see him kill some motherfuckers. Put in part 2. Now I want to see a ton of shit blow up. Part 3. And the other ones are fun. The fourth one, you got to be okay with some certain things to watch that one. I'm not joking when people got up out of the theater and walked out when we were watching it. There's some.
Is this The Last Blood? Is that the one you're talking about?
No, it was before that Rambo.
Before
it was just Rambo.
It's
I
just
think.
Rambo.
Yeah.
So that one is he helps missionaries in
down the river or something.
It's down the river, and I can't
Indonesia,
remember
like
somewhere around that area. But it's one where Burma. They're going. They go into Burma. And then the fifth one brings it more into Mexico / Texas, Arizona, something like that. I think he's supposed to be from Arizona.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will definitely watch 3, probably more than I do any of the other ones. But 2, high recommend. It's very important. Gentlemen, I have something special. We're missing our Nate. So we haven't had listen to Pete. So we haven't had any like trash reviews, anyone telling us what else is going on. So I made a couple of phone calls. I sent out a few emails. I got a response. Here we go. I got Rambo to review the movie.
Yes!
Hey, give me back my action horror movies. It's your boy, Sylvester Stallone. How you doing? There's that Nate at. He's got them cute little chickies. I'm gonna pinch him. Yes, I am. But Charlie wanted me to come on because you guys are covering First Blood Part 2. Did you know they drew First Blood? They drew First Blood Part 2. And that's the movie I'm in. What I wanted to do was read some of the classic reviews from my great movie, First Blood Part 2. Did you know it came out in 1985? Yeah, in 1985, I was banging probably someone. I don't know who, but it was the 80s. What could I say? It was great. So this review comes from 93010, a fantasy movie for American citizens. Hey, that's great, because I'm Rambo. Oh, wait, he gave it 1 out of 10. That doesn't seem to make much sense. Let's see what he had to say. They made a movie about an American and represented American pride. Yes, that's very true. It was really great. But the filmmakers didn't understand anything about the war. Yeah, they did. We drew First Blood. They did. We did it. They did. The characters weren't realistic. What do you mean? I'm Rambo. I'm real. The most pointless, thoughtless movie I've ever seen. Well, I mean, you're supposed to go to the movies to turn off your brain, so far, so good. I understand this is a brainless movie and made for entertainment. Yes, you're right, you're getting it. But come on. It's stupid. What do you mean? The dialogue is bland and uninteresting? That doesn't make any sense. I don't even have to talk. I let the bullets do the talking for me. The story lacks depth and more. Well, you see, they were prisoners of war, and I had to get them back because they drew first blood. And then I go back. The action scenes are like other 80s movies. Well, not really, because I came first. Because they drew first blood. Not bad. And there is a decent helicopter fight scene. Yeah, I made sure that helicopter will go down. But beyond that, it has no value at all. Flashy on all the outside, but meaningless on the inside. I don't think I understand what you mean there, but it's okay. Is this character iconic? Well, yeah. I mean, I'm Sylvester Stallone. Who's Rambo? I mean, you're Rambo. You know who it is, unless you're Millie. But it's just Troy's fault. For what? For what? Oh, for annoying stupidity and nationalistic big word that I don't know what this says, except for the first part, which shows the pain and obsession of soldiers after the war. Yeah, we got left out. Did you not see the first movie? That's what it was all about. Now the second movie, we go in, we kick ass, and we leave. The following parts take the character too far. A potential character, but are exploited in the wrong way. Okay. How to make a Rambo movie. Rambo plus fabricated history and characters plus national pride equals action masterpiece. Whoa. 93010, I think you may have accidentally gave this movie a 10 out of 10. Why, thank you. It's been so great. Let's see who else has things to say about this movie. Oh, this guy comes from mid-119 who said it was stupid propaganda of the worst kind and gave it a 1 out of 10. Well, that's weird, but let's see what he has to say. In 1985, when the action was released, it must have looked a state of the art in terms of special effects. Well, I mean, it really wasn't special effects. It was an actual war. We recorded a war. That's what happens in wars. You get a lot of explosions and bullets. I remember one time when I went in and I had to shoot with my big old M130, and I blew up everything. Yeah, wait, there's more to this. Also, it was released at the peak of the Cold War. I would have took it down the Cold War if it would have turned into a warm war, but it didn't. So, it's all good. Which was spawned other nonsense movies like Red Dawn and Missing in Action. Well, to be fair, Missing in Action is kind of really boring with Rambo, where I go in, because I'm Rambo, part 2. I go in and I shoot everything. Almost 30 years on the action sequences. Wow, it really was 30 years ago when I was Rambo, part 2. Oh, boy, still look okay. To watch the movie is just painful. The story is dumb and lame. OMG, what do you mean that's lame? I don't understand. They're prisoners of war. We went and we got them back. Sylvester Stallone is even worse than usual. You take that back. Hey, first blood. Even the most patriotic American must feel embarrassed to watch this. Why would they feel embarrassed? That doesn't make any sense. After Rambo released the POWs from Vietnam all by himself against a bunch of one-dimensional Russians, have you seen the news lately? It's not like they're really good guys. I mean, hello. Now, Putin guy, if you make me go in there, I will be the one to draw first blood. But I regress. He would soon return to 1987 and kick out the Russians out of Afghanistan. Yeah, that's what I do. I kick Russian ass. What do you want from me? That one was even worse. What are you talking about, Rambo 3? That's it. I didn't even need to draw first blood. I had to get Trotman back. I still enjoy watching cheesy 80 movies. However, this one I did not like back then, and I hate it even more now. I'm going to stick my knife into that man's guts, and I'm going to tear him apart. No, and then I went over to Rotten Tomatoes, and I was like, hey, I wonder what they gave me. And some people made fun of my friend, George P. Cosmatos, and I was like, hey, that guy, he directed Cobra. And there's no Cobras in that movie, which I don't know why. We probably couldn't get him on the budget. So, yeah, I hope everyone over there give me action movies do it does. Want the action, there's been Eagles and my boy Tom Cruise. He didn't want to open a restaurant with me like Arnold and Bruce Willis did. So what ended up happening was he went and made a bunch of spy movies. And I don't know anything about being a spy because, when I was Rebel, all I did was go and blow things up. So, yeah, go and enjoy Rambo First Blood Part 2, where they drew blood again. I got back. And thank you to Charlie and Pete for holding the fort down while Nate couldn't be around, because, he's been busy. And he's got them cute little cheekies. Let me tell you about them. I don't know. I got nothing. So, this has been Sylvester Stallone making another appearance on to give me back my action horror movies. And I really hope that you guys tune in next week when they cover Rambo 3. Much love. Peace and oblige.
Wow.
Yeah.
It said, "Do not listen, just push play." I regret every moment of that. Yeah. So yeah, Rambo reviewed, read reviews of Rambo: First Blood Part 2. So see if any other podcasts are getting cutting edge material like that. That's what sets us apart.
Personalized messages from Sylvester Stallone himself.
Totally him. Not imitated.
Not an imitator. Yeah.
Nope. Not a paid actor.
Did Sly sound a little like Macho Man Randy Savage had a baby with Fozzie Bear?
I think the accent comes and goes a little bit. At first, he's killing it, and then I think he gets tired and runs out of shit to say.
Yeah.
And the accent goes away when he's trying to think. As Micky as a voice actor, what would you rate that? Not that was a voice actor, but how would you
that
rate
was the real
Stallone reviewing movies?
That was pretty good, man. That was impressive.
Yep.
I like it. We'll give it a 8 out of 10.
Oh, Stallone will be over the moon. So
I love the energy.
There's no lack of energy when it comes to
it's a bottomless pit of energy.
It just goes and goes and goes. We've had him on the show before. Probably one of the funniest moments we've had on the show, because Pete and I were laying on the ground laughing the last time. I can't even remember what the joke was, but
just kept going.
Stallone just kept talking, and I wasn't even on the screen. Pete was somewhere off to the side, and all you hear is us howling, and Stallone just kept going. So good times. Thanks, Stallone. We appreciate it. Soon, hopefully, Nate will be back. But until then, next month, the show goes back to normal. We bring back the horror side, and we have a very special fill-in host for Nate. We are bringing Anna from the Cinema Slab show over. She is going to be sitting in all month of August. I do believe we get Hannah for an episode at least.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So we are... I don't really want to say this is a themed month coming up. There are 2 themed movies.
Yeah, it was...
We're doing
tough theme.
It was. We're doing kind of like a truncated month of Neon. So instead of 4 episodes of Neon movies, we're doing 2 episodes of Neon movies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even going to announce them. The way things go, sometimes things change. You know what I mean, Pete? And I don't even know what we're doing for the next 2 on that. But I do know in September, hopefully, if everything works out right, Nate will be back, because we got him and Pete's birthday month, which is always a lot of fun. And then I get retaliated against, and Nate takes over the entire podcast with horror movies. So this is why I got what I could in now, because I had to give him all of October to make this happen. So, all right, boys, this is the final episode of Month of Action. I think we ended out on a super high note. Pete, I'm calling this all a win.
Agreed.
I don't think I've hurt you at all with any of my movies. You've been pretty positive
I think
for a
my
while
least
now.
favorite probably was Kickboxer.
Yeah.
And I still enjoyed that. I mean, if I had to pick from all the movies this month, that would have been my least favorite, but I still found ways to enjoy that one.
Right. And we had, surprise hit with Death Race, which was fun. And then we surprised everyone by dropping a double feature in their laps, which was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun.
That is you and me, baby.
That was it. And make sure you are checking out our shows over on the Be Action side with me, Micky, and Dustin. We have rocked out some amazing movies.
Yes.
What did we do over there, Micky? We did what
Recently?
started? Yeah, what did we start with? Was it Wanted, Dead or Alive?
Yeah, I think so.
So we started with
all caught up.
Are you talking about for the month of action?
Yeah.
I feel like there was something before that. What was it?
Was there something? Oh, Hell Comes to Frogtown.
There you go.
Hell Comes to Frogtown.
I haven't gotten to that one yet.
Oh, that was a ton of fun.
I think that's up next. Yeah.
I've never seen Dustin so excited. He was so hyped for that movie. And then we did Wanted, Dead or Alive with Rutger Hauer. Then we did Barbarians which was an absolute blast.
No.
Oh, we had so much fun. Oh my God. And that was a Dustin. Dustin had no, because
that movie is stupid and I love it.
It's so
great.
good.
It's stupid.
Mickey and I kept going barbarians, and Dustin kept going, which one? And we're like, barbarians.
Barbarians, yeah.
He's like, Conan? No, barbarians.
The barbarians.
And we finished it out with another movie with steel in the title, Pete. Hands of Steel.
The highlight of the month.
Oh, it really, honestly.
Over Barbarians?
Yes.
Honestly.
Wow.
We loved
That's high
Barbarians.
praise.
Hands
It
of
is.
Steel was the surprise hit of the month.
It
So
stole my
far,
heart. I loved it.
So far, movies with steel have been stealing the show.
Knocked out of the park.
Steel Frontier, hands down, one of the best ones we've done so far. Hands of Steel, right up there, like just under Steel Frontier. I'm going to redo Steel Dawn with these other co-hosts, Pete. You know,
You and Barry Bostwick, or was that Patrick Swayze?
no, that's Patrick Swayze.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, we did Megaforce with Barry Bostwick.
Megaforce.
Yeah.
You enjoyed that one. You enjoyed that.
It was very silly.
It was G.I. Joe the movie.
Yeah, it sure was.
It really
definitely
was. It really was. All right. Mickey, why don't you tell everybody on this side of the podcast where they can find you and what you got going on with the Nerd Initiative?
So nerdinitiative.com. We got a YouTube channel, X, TikTok, Instagram, all that mess. You can find every Wednesday we're dropping comic book reviews. I do that. And Play for Keeps, where we review action figures and just talk about toys and collectibles. And we have some movie and streaming articles and all kinds of stuff like that come out. So I'm always on the TikTok or the YouTube or posting something on the website. So
You got to throw Troy your way. Talk about comic books.
bring it. I love it.
He is an artist. Yeah,
That's awesome.
And speaking of Troy, we did a Troy episode over on Good Beer Bad Movie Night, didn't you, Pete?
We sure did. I just dropped today, which I don't know when this is supposed to.
This will be the end of the month, so a couple weeks ago.
A couple weeks ago, then, yeah, Troy's. What do you want to call it? The Troy's worst movie. Yeah, loathes. So the word loathes. He hates the movie Twister with the fiery passion of 1,000 Suns.
Yeah.
Why? He'll explain to you on the show why he hates it.
Okay.
And we all had a hoot recording this. It was the visceral that came out of that man's mouth was wonderful. He hated that movie. It was a complete joy to listen to. We've already had a few comments on the Facebook page like, is this really a bad movie? I'm like, this is just the title of the show, gang. It's much like Charlie always says, not all the movies are bad, not all the beers are good, and there are plenty of movies that we watch on the show that are actually quite enjoyable. Yep. But yeah, like I did Dick Tracy 2 months ago. I hate that movie. Oh God, I hate that movie.
But and you didn't hate it as much as you thought you did.
That's right. I was shocked.
See?
And then, we had a great time with Twister. And we're going to, next Friday when Twisters comes out, we're dragging Troy to the theater to go watch Twisters. I've got a little pocket recorder. I think I'm going to try to do something.
That would be awesome.
Troy works from home, so I'm going to pick him up early. We're going to go to the bar. And then go see Twisters.
I love it. So yeah, check out Good Beer Bad Movie Night, and everything these guys do are linked through our Instagram. Speaking of which, if you want to keep up with everything we got going on, check us out over at Give Me Back My Action Movies, the podcast Facebook group. Give Me Back My Horror Movies, the podcast Facebook group. We are both on Instagram, which is where 90% of our links are. That's where we're the most active. Mickey's on there all the time. We collaborate. We do all the reels. Dustin is killing it with the reels.
Yes.
We have TikTok for Give Me Back, but we also have TikTok for Be Action, brand new. And good Lord, that man is killing it over there. And the videos are hilarious. Okay, the Rush Hour 3 one today. I about died, and I loved it so much. But yeah, check us out. We're on all the streaming platforms. Tell your friends, rate us 5 stars over on Spotify and Apple. And I want to just thank everybody for making it through all the month of action with us. We had so much fun. Pete, thank you for indulging me to take over the entire show and torture you with action movies. Mickey, thank you for jumping in on this one a little bit last notice, but this was a blast and I had
Thanks
fun.
for having me. I love Rambo. I was happy to be here.
Now both of my co-hosts from that show have been on this one, so it's all even Stevens. I don't know if the other two want to come on B Action because they know I'm going to pick a Steel movie if they come on over there, and I'm definitely going to do that. All right, guys, we are done. Month of Action. Get us out of here, eagerly.